Welcome to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show, a real estate investment program. Listen and learn how to use real estate to build wealth and passive income streams for you and your family. We bring you experts every day to discuss and answer your questions on everything from single-family homes all the way up to 600-plus unit apartment complexes. And now, the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Good afternoon. This is David Ruzicka with Lifestyles Unlimited. I'm glad to be with you today. We're working on your financial freedom, and I'm excited today because I have got Evelina Romland on the line. She is one of our Houston single-family mentors, and what I really like about her is she was scared to death of investing. She was also scared of working until she died, which that's me. I was scared because I knew I was going to have to work till I died with the map that I was using to find financial freedom to get to retirement, and she was the same way. And we talked the other day, and she told me about the fear that she had as she did her first investment, and that's exactly the way I was. So I'm really glad to have her with me today. Evelina, glad to have you with us. I want to ask you first, I guess, tell us a little bit about your background and, more importantly, what you were doing for retirement before you became a member of Lifestyles Unlimited.
Yeah, sure. So thanks, David, for having me this beautiful Saturday. So I actually, I am from Europe, from Sweden, and we arrived in Texas because of my husband's job, and I ended up in real estate because I couldn't continue working as a nurse, and my plan was to continue working as a nurse and keep on doing that, and when that kind of didn't work out when we arrived here in Texas, I had to find something else, and that is what brought me into the real estate business and path.
Now, why in the world did you think about real estate? I mean, most people, it seems like, that I run across that join Lifestyles, they've heard the radio show, maybe, and that's how they discovered real estate. But for you, I mean, you came from Sweden, you are looking for something to do, and real estate, how'd that come across your radar?
So back home in Sweden, I've always been interested in real estate. You know, growing up, my parents always loved buying houses. I always loved anything about real estate, but in Sweden, it's not really an option to, be fun. It's just a normal job in Sweden. It's nothing special. You cannot retire yourself on real estate for several reasons. And when I couldn't continue as a nurse, my husband actually brought it up and said, hey, real estate is very different here in Texas, Evelina, so maybe we should look into that, and maybe you can do something about that, because that was also something that I had a little bit of knowledge about coming from Sweden. Quickly, I realizing that knowledge was completely not realistic in Texas. But, however, it got me started. I joined several workshops. I went to about 10 of them and started working my way down and tried to figure out what I could do in Texas.
You mean workshops at different organizations, right?
Yes, correct.
So you did a lot of investigation. Yeah, because you have to remember, I was renting my own house. We arrived in the States like 6 months earlier, and the U.S. 6 months earlier. So I didn't know anything. So I really had to start from the bottom, trying to figure out what options do I have. So I went to 10 workshops with 3 different companies about real estate investing, just to kind of trying to scan what's out there and what I could, what I liked about it and what I didn't like about it. And you chose Lifestyles over the others. Why is that?
So, first of all, maybe about 5 of the 10 I went to, they had like people standing on the doors, not wanting to let you go before you gave them money. And for me, that those were out of the gate right away. I don't think that is a good sign after spending maybe an hour, 1.5 hours, or 2 hours with a company, and they're kind of trying to force you in, walking behind you when you walk into the elevator, trying to asking you all these questions why you don't want to invest with them and things like that. The others was just, some of them was just a big chunk of money and very little promise of what that money was going to give me. And then a lot of them did not have people in Houston, Texas, where I was. And since I didn't know anything, I needed to have some people that I knew were in the area where I was going to invest. I did not want to speak to a customer service line located somewhere else in the U.S. or out of office hours somewhere, maybe another country, right? So I needed someone, and that took out about everyone. And then I ended up a Lifestyle. They let me go out of that free workshop. They just said, thank you. Do you have any questions? And I said no, and they let me walking out. And also what they said makes sense. They simplified it for me. So me coming in, not knowing anything, I understood what I could achieve with real estate. And that gave me a really good feeling.
And folks, so you know what she's talking about, that's a free workshop that we do. It's all online right now. And it's funny you say that, Evelina. I do the free workshops here in the Houston office. And when doing them live, I would tell people, because sometimes people would run out the door because they're fearful someone's going to jump them and accost them and beat them with sticks until they give money. And I would always say, right now, what I'm doing right now, this is the only hard sell you're going to get. The people back there, they're real estate investors. They're just there to answer your questions. So any questions you have, feel free to answer to kind of take away that fear that people have, because I know exactly that position. So how did you join? First time you said you went, but your husband didn't go?
Yeah, exactly. So I did my husband was working full-time, more than full-time. And so I did this on my own. So I actually went back to Sweden for that summer, and I said to my husband, I think this is the one you should check out. And he actually went over summer when I wasn't here, and he just signed up right off the bat. Just texted me, I'm in, we're doing the 2-day when you are getting back. This is going to change your life. And he's a very skeptical person, and he was very deep into the stock market and spent a lot of time. So I was thinking when he said that, I knew right away that this is for real, because I'm not easy to fool, but my husband is definitely not easy to fool. So he signed us up, and then we did the 2-day.
Wonderful. Hey, stay with us through the break, folks. We're going to hear some more from Evelina about her first investment and how she got started and where she is today. Glad you're with us today.
We're back with the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. We're here to answer your questions and help you become financially free.
Glad to be with you today, working on your financial freedom. This is David Ruzicka. I'm your host. Really excited to have Evelina Romland with me today. She is a single-family mentor for our Houston office. I forgot to mention this at the beginning. She has invested in 9 single-family houses and 11 apartment communities. And those apartment communities are not just in Houston. They're kind of spread across the country. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But right before the break, Evelina told us she attended the free workshop with Lifestyles, and her husband did. Her husband loved the stock market, but the fact that he joined the first time he came to one of the free workshops told her that this is the real deal. And so, Evelina, tell us about attending that 2-day class, and what were some aha moments for you?
So the 2-day class was intense. It's intense for everyone. Everyone who have done the 2-day know what I'm talking about. And for you who haven't done it, look forward to it. But also for me, since I didn't know anything, I didn't know the language you have here. I didn't know even how to buy a house. I was exhausted. But I think that the most thing that got me going was when Dell kind of said that he speaks about a lot of things. But he said, always ask yourself, if I invest this money, how much money each month is this money going to give me back? And when he said that, I didn't quite understand it. And we spoke about it on the break with Dale. We had lunch, and he kind of explained it to me. And then I realized that if I could make that happen, if I could make each and every dollar I invest give me something back each and every month tax-free, we're going to be able to retire, And that just was a moment for me that we need to do this. And then also, Dale very simply took out a lot of the things I was worried about my fears about managing real estate, tenants, and all that. He made it very easy and explained it very well. But it was exhausting. I was really tired. I actually went back the month after to do the 2-day again because I just couldn't process all the information. So I loved it. It was great.
That's great. And you mentioned something today. You said, why doesn't everyone in Texas do this every day compared to your country where you came from? And what a great place this is to investing. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we were sitting at lunch again, and I was sitting next to a gentleman, and he kind of said, no, I don't think this is for me, and I'm going to go back to the stock market. And I was just thinking, and I said to him, like, people, if you don't do this, coming from where I come from, where we have rent regulations, and, a lot of taxes on everything. You can't even evict the tenants where I come from. They are where they are, and you can't charge late fees and everything. And, like, if you are in Texas, you just need to do this, and it's my friends, as quickly as they see me, something like, Evelina, we're not going to talk about real estate today. And I said, no, we are going to talk about real estate because you don't understand it yet. You have not started investing, and that means that you don't get this. So for me, I don't understand why anyone in Texas do not do this. They just need to get into the 2-day and understand what kind of freedom this could give them. No matter what that is, you might love your job and you want to continue, but just to be able to know that you can retire when you want to, or if we hit it down in the market, whatever. So, yeah, everyone needs to do this in Texas. It's just too good to be true.
And what Evelina is referring to is with real estate, residential real estate, you make money in 5 different ways. With stock market, it's up or down, that's it. With gold, it's up or down, and that's it. And it's such a great opportunity. And you live, if you're in Texas, actually, if you're in the United States, because we teach you how to live where you want and invest where you need, you live such a great opportunity to be in a position of retiring yourself. And many times people find they can retire themselves much quicker than they thought. Tell us about your first investment. I know it took you a while to find a house. And tell us about that.
Yeah. So going back, I was not working. So when we joined, that was what I was doing. I dropped the kids off at school, and I started driving, looking at houses. And I maybe went to 8, 9, 10 showings a day. I was literally driving all around the city for 8 hours straight, most of the weekdays, meeting agents, looking at houses. And I kept making excuses why I don't want to buy this house. Or I kept making, a horror show of a really good house. And I was really fearful of doing this because ultimately I was really afraid of losing money, right? So by the end of it, one of the agents that I was working with mostly, I come to a house. It was built 2004, so it was a fairly new house. And he said, Evelina, and I kind of, yeah, you are buying this house. And I'm kind of, no, I'm not buying this house, but let's take a look at it. And he said, Evelina, this is it. You need to buy this. I have showed you 30 houses, and you have just making excuses. I think this is a really good deal. So I called my mentor at the time, and I said, okay, this is it. Contori says that I should buy this house, and my mentor knew that I've been just trying to get out of each and every deal I was looking at. And my mentor said, yeah, he's right, Evelina. You're going to buy this house. And that's how I bought my first house. I signed the contract, and off I went.
And so if you're listening right now and you're thinking, that just sounds scary, it sounds terrifying, the stock market, you just call. You can do it online. You don't have to talk to anybody. Buying a house is a little bit different, a little more involved doing that. But the result is so much better because, Evelyn, you told me the other day your equity capture on that house was 60%. You had a 60% capital gain the day that you bought it, and then $520 a month cash flow. But to get there, you actually had to do... Oh, by the way, I want to mention, you can be a really good mentor because you've probably visited every neighborhood in Houston, Texas. So if somebody wants to invest in Houston, you've been to all those places during that time. But
I know them all.
Yeah. So tell us about the process.
So I bought the house. It was, like I said, a fairly new build. It needed a new water heater. It needed, some maintenance on the AC and things like that. Other than that, it was actually mostly cosmetic. So it was like the perfect first investment property. It was a little bit of holes in the walls. The tenant who had been living there had been a little bit rough to the house. So we did some granite in the kitchen. We did some paint carpet and things like that. And then, it took about 2 weeks maybe, and it looked beautiful. And it was a fairly smooth rehab. I'm not happy that I got that kind of rehab to start with.
A 2-week rehab, that is quick. Yeah, that's quick.
Yeah, it is. But it was good. It was what I needed. And I think, thinking back, I think that was my agent. He knew that I needed an easy project to start with because otherwise I might just never buy a house again.
Right,
I think it was meant to be that way.
But how did you lease the house, Evelina? Because that's the great fear people have is you're going to buy the house, you're going to fix it up. We're going to get the answer to that question on the other side of the break. Hey, guys, stay with us. We're talking about Evelina's very first house with equity capture of 60% and about 25% cash flow. That is a great deal. Hang with us through the break.
Welcome back to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Now, let's get back to your map to financial freedom.
This is your host, David Ruzicka, working on your financial freedom. Glad you're with us today. I do want to encourage you, go to the website, lifestylesunlimited.com, and sign up for the free workshop if you've not been before, because you're going to hear the 5 different ways real estate makes you money, and there's actually a 6th way through multifamily, through apartment communities. And we want to get you started and on your way to financial freedom, and that's exactly the way that I started. That's the way Evelina started, who is our single family mentor in Houston, Texas, and we're talking to her right now. And the question I asked after we heard about her first house that she purchased is, how in the world did you get the thing leased? Because that's the question people always ask during the free workshop. What if I can't lease it? What do I do then? I'll lose money. I'm going to lose money because I'm not going to be able to lease my house. Tell us about that, Evelina. How did you do that?
Yeah, it's one of the first things that when I do my mentoring that members ask to. So actually, Dell teaches that buy a sign and put it in the front yard the day you close on the house. And I did exactly that. And I put it up on a couple of websites online that my mentor suggested and that other members were doing. So I just followed the map I was given by Dell and Lifestyles Unlimited. And actually that sign in the yard paid off because it turned out that 2-3 houses down the road, there was a family renting that house and they were going to sell that house, the owner. So that family moved into my house, just 3 houses up. And so I got it leased very, very quickly. It took me less than a week to find a tenant. But I also got a lot of interest online on my online advertisement on that house. So leasing it was not a problem at all. It was very, very easy. And with all my 9 houses, I did not really have any issues leasing it, as long as you are following what you are taught.
And part of that is the pricing. How do you figure out what you're going to price that house at?
Yeah, so that's the strength of the education that I got, was that we have ways of evaluating houses and looking at the numbers before you even buy the house. So before I even signed my name on that contract, I knew how much I could lease this house for. And I found that out by looking at how much the other houses around me has been leased for and what they looked like inside. So I made sure that I had a really nice product in that market and that I knew how much houses looked like that was going to lease for. So when I leased my house and put it out, I had the best product and I had the best price. And that's why my houses and any house will lease quickly. When you don't lease, then you have not done those 2 things. You don't have the best product to the best price.
That's good. So you got that house, you got it under your belt. Did you feel great freedom now to go out and buy another house, or were you still a little bit trepidation? What was your mindset at that point?
No, because now I had learned everything, right? I've learned what a title company was. I learned all those things that all you guys already know. So all my fears were basically gone. So from there, I just went head on and bought the rest of my 8 houses fairly quickly. I just bought one at a time. I know my limits, but I bought the other 8 houses fairly quickly, and those were largely rehab and more, a little bit more time in the rehab than 2 weeks. But yeah, so I just went head on from there and just had no fears. That was a good experience going forward, not having that fear that I really had with the first house.
Yeah, and I want people to understand, Evelina when she said she didn't know anything, she didn't even know what a title company was. Like, what's that? So Lifestyles Unlimited will take you from no knowledge at all to being Well, in Evelina's case, a mentor who is an expert in single-family houses and is helping other people to do what she has done. And that's a pretty big leap right there, from knowing nothing to being the expert that people go to. So I think that's tremendous. Tell us about the rest of your investing. You've got 11 passive investments.
Yeah, so we did our first passive investment before we bought the first single-family house, actually. We started to do some networking, and we had some money to put into the multifamily side as well. So we just continue to save up money and put aside anything we can each and every month. And then when we have enough money, we put it into a single family or a passive investment. So the passive has been all along. We actually closed on our 11th passive last week. So we are still doing that. We have expanded from Houston to a lot of other states in the U.S. So we are doing the passive as well, and they are doing great too. You know, I love single family, but I also love multifamily. So we are continuing with that with all the money we have. It's just a matter of saving up, and when you have enough money, you move it into real estate, and then you start saving again, and you move it into real estate. And that's what we're doing.
And when Evelina says passive investing, she's investing in an apartment community. There's a lead investor. He's doing all the work, or she is doing all the work. They're on the note. Evelina is not, and her husband are not on the note. They're just passively investing, but they get the benefits, the tax benefits, the income benefits, everything, the capital gains. They get all that. Basically, all Evelina has to do is go to the mailbox, or actually now probably it's all done online, and check her bank account and say, oh, look, I got paid some money and I made some money. So that's great. Yeah. That's great. I wanted to ask you, what are the mistakes that you have made as an investor?
So it's so funny because when you do the 2-day, you know, you're asked to write in the back of the book that I did not do what Dell told me to do. And sitting at the 2-day, I was thinking, I'm never going to read that last page because I'm going to do it by the book. And I did a lot by the book, but I did some mistakes when I had to turn to the back of the book. So I think most of our mistakes with the single-family houses has been when we have not followed the map we were given. We have skipped on inspections. We have believed tenants without really screening them and things like that. So I see a clear connection when I vary off the map I was given. That's when things kind of go a little bit bad, and you need to back out, read the last page, and you need to reset, and you need to do it again. So I think those have been the mistakes I've been doing, mostly with tenants, and then that I missed a few rehab items because I skipped some of the inspections part. You know, it could be the plumbing or the electrical box or something like that. Those have been most of the mistakes on the single-family side, yeah.
But the mistakes are all because you didn't do what Dell told you to do, not because information was left out. You got all the education. I mean, I'm the same way. Everybody's the same way. You got all the education. You got everything you needed, but didn't follow the map. And I think that's important for people to hear, because lifestyles, we will tell you exactly what to do to be successful. All you have to do is follow the map. It's a simple process.
And also, you know, you have all the education, you know. So I wish I could blame someone else for the mistakes I made, but unfortunately, it's all on me.
and they weren't mistakes that were deadly, because real estate is so forgiving. You do something else during the 2-day. David Fisher always says anybody can retire in 5 years or less if you will live on 45% of what you make. And you told me something really interesting. You guys are investing 50% of your income. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes. So we made a decision when we joined. We made a decision that we are going to invest 50% of what we make, and we're going to live on the rest of the 50%. And our income is increasing because we're adding investments all the time, and we keep on doing that. You know, my husband is still working. He's not retired. We could retire, you know, technically many years ago. But we want a really great lifestyle. So, we invest 50% of everything we make every year, and it's working out really well.
That's
and
tremendous.
I like that formula because it gives you a little bit more. I could take an extra vacation or two each and every year. So it works for us.
That's great. Hold that thought right there, Evelina. We're going to come back on the other side of the break, and we're going to talk a little bit about Evelina's mentoring. Stay with us.
Warning. Listening to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show will change your life. We will teach you how to create wealth and passive income so you can be financially free. And now, back to your host.
Hey, glad to be with you. This is David Ruzicka with Lifestyles Unlimited. We're with Evelina Romlin, who is a single-family mentor in Houston. She went from scared to death of investing in her first single-family house to owning 9 single-family houses and investing in 11 apartment communities and being an expert for Lifestyles Unlimited for single-family investing. She is a mentor to investors, to new investors who want somebody to talk to ask questions of as they're going through the investment process. Evelina, just tell us why you wanted to be a mentor.
Well, who doesn't want to be a mentor is my question, right? We all want to be a mentor. Being a mentor is a great honor to be able to help people. And for me and for Lifestyles Unlimited, who have, given me so much and my family, it's basically changed our lives. So when I got the opportunity to become a mentor, I just wasn't hesitating at all. It's an honor to be able to help people retire. They are coming in and then seeing them succeed, seeing them, I had within the first year, I sat down with a member and he started lots of questions, and he actually bought his last 7th house and is now retired. He can now stop working, and he shot me an email the other day and just saying, "Yay, I did it," and thinking that I'm a small part of that and being able to give back to the wonderful community that we are. Is just amazing. So that's why I wanted to be a mentor, to give back and to be able to help people achieve, and for their families, what we have achieved with my family.
That's tremendous. I want to reiterate to the people listening, so many people come into Lifestyles Unlimited thinking, maybe if I check this out, I might have a possibility of retiring a little bit sooner than 65 or 70, and then they find out, wow, I could retire really quickly, and then they retire in less than 5 years. I hear that over and over again. People think I'm going to be working another 10 or 15 years, and in 5 years they are done, and they have complete financial freedom. Yeah. Tell us, I'm a brand new person. I've joined Lifestyles Unlimited. I come to talk to you. I want to do investing. I don't know anything. Kind of walk us through that mentoring process.
Yeah, so the first meeting you have is called the initial meeting. Basically, you come to me. I have sent you a couple of paper documents with some information beforehand. And the first step is really to sit down and figure out, where all the money are, how much you have to invest, look at that, and then create a strategy and a roadmap for that person, depending on where you start. And then we talk, like how they could reach the financial freedom that they want, whatever that is. Then we set down a map and we set down goals, because it is important to know where you're going. And then from there, we have a little bit of basic education. We walk through a few things of the market. But I always tell members that meeting is maybe an hour long. It's a lot of information, and a big part of that is answering all the questions that the members have. And I always say that first meeting is just a starting point. The best way to use a mentor is to keep in contact from their own and keep asking questions. So that first meeting is a big part of goal setting and making a map going forward. And then you touch on a lot of some basic things and then moving on. And then going on, a lot of contact information, email, phone calls, and things like that going forward.
And I know when I was first starting out with Lifestyles, I felt like at times I was going to annoy my mentor. I was going to bug my mentor. And I had the same mentor you did. It was Damon. And yeah. I would email him at 9 o'clock at night thinking, oh, he'll get it tomorrow and he'll answer it. And he would answer at 9 o'clock at night. And I felt so bad. And can somebody annoy you by asking you too many questions?
Yes. I tell the members I meet that you should annoy me. If you need to call me 4 or 5 times in one day when you are looking at your first house, running numbers, whatever. That's what you need to do. And that's exactly what I did. I was harassing my poor mentor at the beginning. Going back to that, I didn't know anything either. So you can imagine the kind of questions I was asking. He must have thinking that I was stupid, but I didn't know. I had to call my mentor up asking what a title company was. So absolutely, any questions at any time. you need to ask them. And if that means that it's 5 times in one day in the beginning, that's what we are here for. And the funny is that the first house, you have a lot of questions. The second house, you have quite a lot of questions. And then the third house, you don't have as many questions because then you have done the learning curve. And that is the power of Lifestyles Unlimited, right? That you learn to be independent, you get more secure, and you kind of know what you're doing. So you can continue, progress, and investing.
And what kind of team do you need to build as you're doing your investing? Who are the people that you need? Because I know Dell says real estate is a team sport.
Oh, yeah. So in the first meeting, we talk a lot about team building. It's one crucial part of everything because you don't know everything. And in fact, you don't know a lot at all probably coming in. It's very important and obvious that you need people who know everything that you don't know. And that is the team purpose. When you go out and look at a house, you have members on your team helping you with everything that you don't know that you need help with. An inspector to check everything. You have a lender making sure that you can get financing and setting up the limits for that. You have a general contractor that can do the rehab and can help you achieve, what you want to do with the house and give you a number how much that's going to cost. Insurance, right? You need to have insurance. All those people on your team is super important. So building a team is a crucial part that you actually start with. That is the next step from the initial meeting is to start building your team and having that short list of people that is going to help you getting out all the information you need to make a good, informed decision based on facts and numbers. So the mentor and everyone else is super important. And it sounds very complicated. It is not. We have a layout for that. We have people that, you can reach out to that know what we are doing. Obviously, your mentor is a huge part in that team as well, reconnecting and kind of helping you having that overview of things and get that going. So team is super important.
And if that sounds daunting, it's not. We have a vendor list. We have people, and it's really important because you want vendors helping you. You want people on your team that are used to dealing with investors. You're probably not going to use the same contractor you would use to redo your kitchen and make it a nice luxury kitchen. You want someone that creates clean, functional rental properties for your people to live in. And it's a little bit different mindset, especially even on the lending side. It's going to be different than your conventional lender. You're using a hard money lender, different. But we have all of that, and we provide that for you through the membership with Lifestyles Unlimited. Just a question that I'm sure people are wondering, are people still buying during COVID? And now, things are opening back up in Texas, which is great, but even previously, last spring, last fall.
Yeah, so the real estate business has not stopped the world. We are still buying. We are still making really good investments. And there are a lot of properties out there to buy. It's business as usual, really. It's not that much of a difference at all. And I had so many members reaching out, I'm going to wait. And they started waiting a year ago. And some of them are still waiting. And I was speaking to one the other day, and he kind of phoned me up and said, I'm done waiting. I'm going to get going. And I kind of said, good for you. I could have said that a year ago, but some people just need to. So don't stop, and that's the key. And they'll teach that too. Like we are winning in an up market and we're winning in a down market. The key is just to continue investing at all times. And COVID is not an exception to that, right. That you should continue to invest.
Hey, what are some key relationships that you've built through real estate investing?
Yeah, so beside my team, the most important relationship are actually my fellow members who are now good friends that have supported me, answered my questions, hanging out with me, having drinks, having dinner, explaining over and over again things that I didn't understand, that are opening up, meeting me for lunch, dinner when I have questions. So all those people that are my fellow members that I have met through the years, and I'm meeting new people all the time, is the most important connections that I have made. And those are the people who also help me staying focused and staying on the path that we have set out with our investing goals.
That is so great, guys. Lifestyles Unlimited has an abundance mentality, which means we share everything so that everybody is successful. Evelina, thanks so much for being with us today. Go ahead and go to the website, lifestylesunlimited.com, and sign up for the free workshop.
The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.